Is it?
Broadcast is live.
Live.
Broadcasting live. Woo!
All right. Okay, so hopefully people are going to start coming in because anyone who subscribed to me should have gotten a notification because they should have also hit the notification bell. Otherwise, this is my way of shaming people into doing it now.
Wow.
I'm using every opportunity. We had like a Christmas quiz at work yesterday for the last day, and my questions were everything related to me. And I advertised my YouTube channel in one of the questions, and no one knew it, but now they do. So it was a way to guilt them into subscribing to my channel. So this is my way of guilting anyone who's watching, and there is no one watching. I've just seen that there's no one watching. But anyway, let's just. This happens so often, but oh well, it's gone. It's here. It's ready. Let's just carry on. So we are all here to talk about Korrasami 6 years on from the finale. We do have someone who has just joined. Hello, sketched by Sharon. Oh my gosh. And Eric. And we got Eric as well. We've got people joining in. Okay, I'm so glad people have turned up. Okay. All right. So guys, obviously I am not here alone. So everyone here, do you want to introduce yourselves? I don't know what order it is showing for you guys. So whoever is like on the top side, go first.
I'm on the top right for myself.
Yeah.
You're up there. You're up there.
Yeah. I'm Erica. My pronouns are she, her, hers, and I host a Percy Jackson podcast just like Fran does. And I'm a big, I would say the biggest Korrasami stan that I know. So I'm very happy to be here.
All right. Robert, do you want to go next?
Sure. Hi, my name is Robert. I use he, him, his pronouns. I also have my own Percy Jackson podcast. But what's it called? And I've recently, with all the pandemic stuff and Legend of Korra getting released on Netflix, I finally got around to watching it, and I am now a very big Korrasami stan too.
Yeah.
And hello, I am Andy. I am low-key on the internet, but I've just added my Instagram and Twitter. Wait, this way. Over here. Might as well get some promotion out of this. Yeah. I am a uni student who likes cartoons way too much, and go Korrasami.
All right. And obviously you guys know me, and if you don't, this is a little bit embarrassing, but hopefully you do know who I am. I am obviously the host of A Healthy Dose of Fran, and I am repping the Korrasami with my very own Korrasami t-shirt. I've got my Korrasami pillow that is on my merchandise store if anyone would like. We've got Kyoshi Warriors there, lovely Erica. But yeah, so if anyone would like Korrasami merchandise, I have my own, so go to my TeePublic, that is linked in the description. And obviously repping the Fire Ferrets as well with my hoodie. Yes, I
didn't even notice that.
Yeah, it's the hood isn't very appealing, but like the rest of it is pretty dope.
I want that.
It's oh god, I'll let you guys know because I don't remember where I got it from, but when I remember, I will let you guys know. But yeah, so we are all here to talk about Korrasami because today exactly it has been 6 years since the finale of Legend of Korra, where Korra and Asami walked into the spirit world portal and life was complete. And like if I died right then, I would have been thrilled. Emotionally, I pretty much did die, but like, you know, but yeah, so we're all here to talk about it. It's impacted us in some way. We love it. We love it. We're all here to reflect on everything that's gone on, the things that have changed to do with Korrasami, whether directly related to it and what it meant to us then and what it means to us now. Because 6 years is a long time, especially since 6 years ago in comparison to now, with that being the first ever canonically queer relationship on a children's cartoon. And then now we've got so much more. We've got She-Ra with Catra and Adora. We've got, I can't think of any other examples right now.
Time with Bubblegum and Marceline.
There we go. And so many more that's come out as well within children's media. And Korrasami is often credited as like being the first stepping stone to lead into all those things happening, because if you do one small little thing, it gave so many creators the opportunity to kind of go ahead with it at the same time, and it's just improved over the years. So let's just kind of dive into that before I continue rambling on and don't let anyone else speak. Our first question up today is, what Korrasami?
Korrasami. Korrasami.
That's the posh way. That's the British way to say Korrasami. It's Korrasami.
Learning so much today.
Oh God, I'm embarrassed. Right. So what Korrasami meant to us and what we thought of the moment when it happened back in 2014. Who wants to go first with that? The panic in everyone's eyes is just...
Yeah, I'll volunteer myself. I've kind of established the order. I, just like Robert said, I watched Korra for the first time this past, or like in its entirety for the first time this past summer.
Ooh.
Hi.
Sorry, we've got Asia has just joined the chat. Sorry, Erica, to add to just whilst that was your beginning. But
no
hi,
worries.
Asia. Do you want to introduce yourself quickly before we dive into this first question?
Sorry, can you say that again? I'm having a hard time.
No worries. Do you want to introduce yourself to everyone before we dive into the questions?
Yeah, sure. Let's do that. My name's Leija. Things to know about me. I recently made a young Iroh short film. My first ever short film. It was a lovely, fun time. But other than that, I'm also like a school psychologist and artist and writer, and just performing person in general. And I'm queer and Asian. Does that help?
Qualified.
Thank you. All my life.
I think that's the best introduction.
That was
the best one.
It was super thorough.
I didn't know what the other ones were like, so I did my best.
Is all good. So we're basically just diving in here with our first question up of what Korrasami meant to us and what we thought of that moment when it happened back in 2014. And Erica had volunteered to be the first to discuss.
I outed myself as a recent Korra viewer because honestly people had told me growing up that it was not good, and so I didn't watch it because I grew up watching Avatar. Like I thought everyone watched Avatar, like they watched SpongeBob. I thought it was as popular to everyone as it was to me when I was 7, and that wasn't the case, as I realized this past summer. But I finally I rewatched the whole Avatar series for like the 17th time, and then I realized there's more to it, and so then I just ended up watching Korra, and I was like, you mean to tell me that there was a gay steampunk Avatar this whole time, and I'm only now engaging with it? So I didn't have that experience 6 years ago, but I did 6 months ago. And I would like to say it was just as life-changing as it would have been then. And I've fully immersed myself in Korrasami lore ever since then. Yeah.
All right, fantastic. Who wants to go next? And if anyone who didn't see it back in 2014, did anyone see it in 2014 or? Oh, okay. So we've got Andrea and Leija. Andrea, do you want to go?
Sure.
Sorry, do you want to go Andrea or Andy? I'm sorry.
Either. I don't care as long as it's my name.
Okay. Well played.
So I watched it in 2014. I was one of the people who watched Korra from the very beginning. They released the first 2 episodes early on iTunes, and I rewatched them so many times that I knew every single line of those 2 episodes. So I was hooked from the very beginning. I really loved it. And then, so I continue watching it, even through all the weird transitions where it went online, that it wasn't, then it went purely online. And I was like, what the hell? And then it's it's not in my country. Why do you do this to me? And then, so the thing is that I typically go for I typically like ships that are canon because I suffer less. So I just generally suffer less. So, and it's also I like enjoying it because I like seeing how it interacts with the story, what it means to the story, how it plays out. And usually with more canon ships, you typically see how it interacts with the story and how it changes the story and stuff like that. And that's what I like about it. So originally I was a huge Makora shipper. And then that died out, and I was like, yeah, oh, okay, so I get why this relationship didn't work. And then we went on with Korrasami, and like season 3, I was like, oh, they're cool together. And then season 4, I was like, they'd be good together. And then the finale happened, and I was like, yes! But I will admit, I was very surprised that it happened because I wasn't expecting it, because it's Nickelodeon, it's a children's network. So I was not expecting it at all. So a lot of my reactions was just pure surprise and shock, because I did not expect that to happen at all. And I was like, oh my God, this is actually, not only is it something that I like, it's actually canon. I love both of the characters. And also I get a lot of fanfics out of this.
The fan fiction really saved it.
Yeah.
Really, yes.
I just want to point out, everyone's face lit up the moment she said fan fiction.
So yeah, it did. But the thing is that, like, it felt like one of those things of like, it should have been fan fiction, but it was canon. And that's what I really like about it. And it worked. What I liked most about it is that it worked. Like, they did build it up through season 4. It didn't feel forced. Like, sometimes they do it with ships that suddenly it's like, oh yeah, these two are together, and like, why? But it felt natural. It felt like they were actually building up to it. And that's what I like about it. I like it when I can see the actual build up to it, the intention, everything behind it. So that just made everything all the more special, because you could tell that they actually put thought and work and effort into it in order to make it feel natural within the show. And that's what made it really, really special to me.
It's so weird not having to like defend it. Like in this group of people, like I feel like normally when I'm talking about Korrasami, I have to be like, no, they did build up to it. No, and it's fantastic. But this is like such a kind, positive environment to talk about this. Right?
Listen, they did build it up. They just didn't build it up in the heterosexual way, where it's like constant hints all the time. They built it up through like subtlety, because it's still Nickelodeon. They couldn't
through go-kart racing.
Yeah,
but it still felt natural. That's the thing.
Yeah.
Even if it's like, you know, if one of the characters was a male, everybody would have been shipping that from the start. Like,
oh yeah,
yeah, just like they had the development there. Just like people don't pick up on that kind of development.
yeah.
And also, for someone who does like women, that is what we're like. We're bloody useless. Like, we are so quiet about it for ages. Like, the fact that it took them 3 years, that is nothing. Like, sometimes it can take 4, it could take 5. There was one case I found out someone liked me when I was 17. I'm 25. I had no idea. And I was like, what? So that was just so natural. I was like, this makes sense, because that's what women who like women are like. We're very quiet.
Yeah.
And then we get together and it's like marriage in 2 weeks. But like,
You've already done all the work beforehand. It's fine.
oh, we've just got a comment from one of the people watching from, can I show it? There we go. Korrasami is the iconic slow burn.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, 100%.
Definitely.
So true. Lisa, just because you mentioned about it, do you want to talk about your experience and like your feelings when it happened in 2014?
Back in the 2014, oh my gosh, like I was
6 long years ago.
What is time?
Irrelevant.
It's not real and it's an illusion, but that's another point. Like, I was a diehard Avatar fan. Like, it was one of those shows where I was just like, oh my God, it's so good. And also I got into Avatar right around the time that the live action was announced. So I was like, oh, perhaps I could do acting. Wow, I could maybe do like Pailu or Azula. Like, I've never seen Asians on screen before. Amazing. So like, loved it for multiple reasons. But like, yeah, we don't talk about that. And then, like, you know, somewhere around a little bit later, then we found out about Korra, and I was like, well, first off, at the time I was straight. First off, she is really, really hot, and she's what I want. Like, you know how queer girls, like, we usually have that experience, especially as we're coming into our lives, when we're like not sure if we really want to be this person, or if we, like, you know, have a crush on them that we will not acknowledge. Yeah.
You named it. You said, let's get into it. Let's get real.
Oh my god, she's so cool. I want to be just like her when I grow up. And then yeah, like I started watching, like had some like bumps in the show. Like I loved it so dearly. Like loved kind of the new themes that they were bringing into it. Did not see Korrasami coming anywhere. Although I was like immediately also like, wow, Asami. Okay, wow. But yeah, and like, you know, they did the Makora thing for a while. I was not that much of a fan just because I'm picky about relationships as a psychologist and like person. But yeah, then season 4 came around though, and like I saw the development there. Me and all my like gay little friends, we were all watching and we saw it happening and we were like, oh god, they would never, they're not gonna actually, like, they're just hinting it and they're queer baiting. This is actually happening. And then like the actual finale, we watched it together, happened and we were like, oh, they did the thing. That's crazy. They actually did the thing, Julie. So it was a very, very big moment, right? Actually, now that I think about it, I had a couple of friends watching with me, and then a couple of my other friends who like 1,000% are so on board with it too, like didn't watch it until years later. I was like, what are y'all even doing? Like, now they're like obsessed with it, but like, you guys have to watch this. It happened. The thing happened. I don't want to say what the thing is because I don't want to spoil it, but you're gonna like it. So yeah, it was a very big moment. That was, when did season 4 come out again?
2014.
That was season 2014. That was,
yeah, well, season 3 and season 4 came out together in the same year. Like they were like a month apart.
that was like around the time that I was like figuring it out for myself too. So it was a very, very big moment for me when I was like, perhaps I like ladies as well as women. And then I saw it on screen and I was like,
oh, that's a mood though.
Oh my god.
Just yeah.
Yes, high five.
It's so cool to see that in like on actual network television at around that time. In addition to like, you know, coming out with an amazing storyline and a really, really hot villain.
Oh, the Kuvira simps have really been coming out in full force. The most
For a second, I was like, Zahir?
No.
No.
What are you talking about?
Zahir with
guess.
hair, I've got to say, I don't like penis, but like Zahir with the hair, I didn't like him bald. I like the hair. Maybe it's just because the hair was in a ponytail that just like associated it with feminine features. I don't know, but something about the hair was Zahir. I was like, well played. Also, the height difference with him and Pali, I was like, this is what I like.
That was the only healthy positive thing about that relationship, was the height difference. None of that other paternal BS.
They really like gifted us with Kiyoshi. Oh my god, those books.
Oh my god.
Yes. All right. I guess I
That's why I like your shirt.
Oh yeah, Robert.
I'm in the strange boat where I sort of had a foot in like both when it happened in 2014 and also when I got to experience it for myself. Because in 2014, everyone I knew was watching Legend of Korra. All my friends, my sister's friends, some of the people I dated, some of the people in my school, everyone was watching it. And like when Korrasami happened, and also I was on Tumblr in 2014, when Korrasami happened, it blew the heck up. And everyone was like, oh my god, it happened. We finally have like a canon gay ship. And like it's a healthy, not like queer baited or not like, you know, there's no like abuse arc or anything like that, which I think is supposedly common in LGBT relationships for some reason.
Mm.
One of them just has
One died.
Or one dies, yeah.
Yeah.
Like
Kill your gays, yep.
And so, but I don't know why I didn't want to watch Korra. I didn't. And then recently, you know, this past summer when Korra was released on Netflix, I'm like, okay, I'm going to give it a watch. Fran and another friend of ours, Natalie, like we have this group chat that we were talking about the entire time because our friend Natalie also hadn't seen Legend of Korra. So like the two of us were watching it together and like we were going through all of the emotions and Fran was just in the background like, oh my God, I can't wait till you guys can like, we can just gossip about Korrasami all the time.
It was so difficult though at the same time because I was like, when I heard when they were at certain episodes, I was like, oh wait, that's when she gives her the tea. That's when that's when they're kidnapped together. And then I'm just like freaking out in the background because I'm like, I know what this leads up to.
Yeah.
But I can't say anything.
Not the kidnapping episode with the
Oh my god,
tying up
that
in the
episode.
Yeah.
I watched on repeat for a couple of weeks because I was like, I just love it.
Yeah.
Not the fact that they were kidnapped, but the fact that they were just together for long periods of time. I was like,
No, but you say that about any other show. I loved rewatching the kidnapping episode.
That would
Yeah.
raise some red flags.
yeah. But maybe this is also me. No one on my channel will be surprised about the weird things that I'm into. But
Yeah.
oh god. Okay, let's quickly move away from that before that gets too deep and weird.
What the hell is happening with my lights?
Robert, continue. Sorry.
I completely lost my train of thought because of that. No. And so finally, when I got to season 4, took me a while to get through season 3. I don't know why. It's not that season 3 was bad. It's just I have a problem with watching it, I guess. It took me a good month to get through season 3. But season 4, I went through like that. Because I'm like, oh, they're building it up. Oh, it's actually like making sense. And like I oftentimes hear arguments from people who like are like, oh, Korrasami was rushed. There was no build-up. I could kind of see the argument. Very low, kind of, you know what I mean? Where I'm like, okay, like you really have to kind of read between the lines sometimes. But a lot of the things were straightforward, like the tea, like the kidnapping episode. And I'm like, really, you guys can't see it? Are you that straight? You can't see it?
That is Robert. That's why I always say, like, I don't trust people who don't like Legend of Korra and who don't like Korrasami. Like, I can't trust you. I can't be friends with you because if you don't see those signs, if you don't believe in that kind of thing, then you're like a hopeless, sad, cis, straight person, probably a man, and I don't want to be around you. So happy to be here again. It's a safe place.
Safe place broadcasted to the internet.
It's going to be very dangerous to drink water during this. I'm pretty sure I'm going to end up drowning halfway through.
Oh, no, don't do that.
But honestly, I completely get you with that. I think like it's so subtle, but like especially for like the queer audiences watching it at that time as well, you are picking up everything because you're like you're not expecting it whatsoever. It's never happened before at this point.
Yeah.
Like when I was watching, so it didn't air at all here in the UK, season 3 and 4, nothing. So I had to illegally watch it online.
Don't admit that on the internet, friend. They'll get you.
I admit, well, I don't know if it was technically
Internet
illegal.
cops.
It was like one of those anime show program things. And it was just
Kids
on there.
cartoon.
Yeah, I think that's what it was actually, ironically. And I didn't know that it was online at that point. So I started watching it Christmas Day, Christmas Eve to Christmas Day, 2 a.m. it was when I got to the final episode. And I just remember I was just picking up all these signs like, no, it's not going to happen. Because I hadn't seen anything at this point because I wasn't like big on Tumblr because I didn't really understand how it worked even then.
No, even now.
No, I don't know. I only use it for advertising, if I'm honest. And I was just watching it and I was just seeing all these signs like, no, it's never happened. Like, there's no reason for it to be. It's no offense to those in America. It's an American cartoon. It's less likely to happen. The only things I'd seen like queer characters was Glee at this point, and it's Glee. It's not exactly a good thing. So
they're not healthy.
No.
Yeah, they're not
the
like healthy.
Santana episode did get me though. Like when she comes out to her grandma, that was mainly because I was 2 days away from coming out to my mother, and the grandmother had a bad reaction, and I was like, no. Oh, no. But it was okay, so that's fine. It worked out all right. But this was like 2 years after I'd come out. Same-sex marriage had just been legalized in the UK as well, which was amazing.
2015. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you guys were the year after as well for the US, which was very cool. And it was just leading up to it, and I was like, oh, that's cool. And then I saw them, they were sitting on the steps, and I was like, wait. And then they started talking. And I'm like, wait. And then they're having like conversations about a holiday, and they're like, yeah, the moment she said, let's do it, I started crying. I was like crying, like just the word, let's do it. I was in tears, and I was like, no, And when they looked off into like the spirit portal bit, I was convinced they were going to cut it there and then they were going to go to the end and not show anything else. But then you see them walking towards it, and I'm like, what's happening here? And I'm still crying. And then they walk further towards it. I'm crying even more. And then they hold hands, and I am hysterical, sobbing at this point. I'm pretty sure I've woken my mum up. She's going to be pissed because it's 2 a.m. on Christmas Day. But like, I'm just crying, and it just happens. And I just stare at this. The screen goes blank, and I'm still crying. And I have no idea how to deal with it because I'm like, this can't have happened. Like, this is a kids show. This is impossible to happen for people like us. Like, there's no way. So I went back and rewatched it because I was convinced I'd seen something that wasn't there. Made myself cry again, and then realized it had happened. I was like, this is no way. So I ended up Googling it as well just to make sure, because I was convinced I must have been getting something wrong, and saw that letter from Brian confirming that it was canon, and I was like, this is the best day of my life. It's the best Christmas in the world. And I didn't tell anyone what happened and that I hadn't slept because I was exhausted the next day emotionally, and everyone thought I was really angry at Christmas. I was like, no, I'm just emotionally broken. And yeah, so that's still the best day of my life. Even now I can remember like the exact emotional impact of that happening, and it's crazy even now, like 6 years on, that I can remember like to the minute what happened. It's just wild.
Yeah,
that story when the stunned silence of wow.
Yeah.
He's a crier.
I would like to ruin the mood for a second by pointing out one of the comments in your live stream where someone was like, they thought this would have been called the Korrasami Streamy, and I'm like, you missed out on such a perfect pun.
Oh my god, I should have. I'm disappointed now. Can I change it? Just rename it something midstream.
Oh my god, there are so many comments that I want to respond to in this. But before, I also want to mention, while you were telling that story, I was trying to look up the episode where I knew that this was happening, and it was in season 1. To point out the slow burn thing, the episode, it's the aftermath where they go-karting at the Future Industries test course, and Korra and Sami are in the same car, and their hair is whipping, and Korra is like, "Wow, you're driving so fast." That was when I was like, "Oh, that's the gay."
Oh my god! Honestly, I'm watching reactors currently on YouTube. I think their channel's called Let's React, and they're a couple, and they noticed it straight away, and I was like, what? More people are noticing it. Amazing.
Amazing indeed.
Speaking of driving, that just makes me think of like the 2 gay archetypes. Like either she's like a race car driver or gays can't drive, and Korra drives a glass car.
Oh my god. With Joe Biden recently picked Pete Buttigieg as his Secretary of Transportation.
That didn't even occur to me.
And I absolutely love all the memes that are like, but why are he's putting him in charge? Gays can't drive. I'm like, oh my god.
That genuinely didn't occur to me until just now, and I thank you for bringing it to my attention.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
I suppose just kind of talking from this, we can sort of go into the next question, which is like the impact of Korrasami, but whether it's like a personal impact or like the impact that you saw after it came canon for those who saw it in 2014, and even those who are finding it now and seeing the reaction that's still going now. Whoever wants to kind of start with that. I don't know if that made any sense the way I just explained. Like, okay, thank God. I heard it back and I was like, what did I mean? I'm glad everyone else understood what I meant. Yeah.
I can go.
Yeah, go ahead.
So as for like overall, like I think we talked about this a bit before the stream started. There was like, after this came Bubblegum and Marceline, then we have Cachadora, and then we have all these extra stuff. And I was really happy with Bubblegum and Marceline.
Pretty much every couple in Steven Universe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And as for me personally, when this came out, this was also around the time when I was realizing that it was bi.
Same. I feel that.
Yeah. And so the thing is that because like she was first with Mako and then with Asami, and God, I love Asami. She's just, from the moment she took off her helmet and the hair went falling, I was like, oh my God.
A lot of
I
my
still-
favorite memes are the ones where like it's a screen cap of Korra or Asami being like, and this is when Korra figured out she was gay for Asami.
Yeah. Yeah. So like for me it was that like, oh, I can like two genders. What the hell? And it's like if I were in the Korra universe, I could be with the Sami. This, oh my god. Legit thought process. Yeah, but I don't know. Like at least that's for me. That was like, okay, wow. It's like, but then afterwards, like I see people say, oh no, they're just gay, or but it's like bisexuality is a thing that exists. That is the one thing that annoys me. However, like I saw that and I was like, oh sweet. So this is actually cool. Like there's no issue with this. I can like a guy and then like a girl. There's no problem. I can have crushes on everyone.
Yeah.
My romantic life was absolute crap until like a year and a half ago when I finally met my partner.
Woo!
Yes.
Nice.
Yes. Male, but I am still bisexual.
Is your boyfriend an avid gamer?
Yes.
That a thing?
It's this like TikTok meme that I keep seeing is that like girls you're bi but you keep falling for like the depressed gamer boys, and I'm like, I mean,
But he's not depressed. He's actually in very good spirits.
That's yeah.
Called out here and attacked.
Yeah. I completely agree on the
Now he's gaming right there.
yeah. I completely agree on the like bisexual, like some people, the people who say like, oh, it should have come earlier, it like ruins the fact that I guess we don't know canonically if they're bi or if they identify differently. Like it could be anything, but definitely like people who also say like the first two seasons are a mess. I'm like, well, but they're just bisexual disasters. Like like it's so recognizable if you know the signs. Like they're all just dating each other and they don't get it, and but they forgive each other so easily, so that they have like the space and the safety to then date each other again and get more chaotic. And it's just like really beautiful. And I think like also like what we were saying earlier about like do you want to be with that person, or do you like want to be that person is the beautiful like what queer representation I feel like is all about. And I think that like Korra and Asami, I both had like different phases of being like, oh my god, they're so beautiful, and also like, oh, I want to be them. And I think Asami especially because like she's like so clearly to me like an animated biracial character, the way she looks and like acts and her family story, like so seeing that kind of thing as like a biracial person was like so fun and exciting. And I was like, okay, I like latched onto her, but then I also latched onto Korra because she's like so destructive and like was so aggressive, and like the guys were scared of her and they didn't know what to do with her. And like that's why I think her relationship with Mako is really fascinating, because she's just like so like he's so confused by her and she doesn't understand why he's not like stronger and more capable of being her partner. So I think that the first, like for me personally, like the first two seasons of like where Korra and Asami have their own personal journeys are just as important as when they eventually end up together, because like that's their whole arc. That's all part of them. That's all a part of their identity and how they found each other and like what they went through in order to like become the people they are. And none of it is invalid just because they had these stupid relationships with this stupid boy, the sad cop gamer who became a cop. It's not invalid. And
oh
we don't
my
have
god!
to
Oh my god!
Oh my god, he's a gamer who became a cop.
Oh my
Wow.
god!
Just a physical sport
Like
gamer.
Oh my god!
Oh wait, no, I was gonna say he's a himbo, but no, that's Bolin. Bolin's the himbo.
Bowling is super.
Papa's not a himbo. He's not cute enough about it.
He's close enough to one.
He's stupid in a different way.
That's true.
But he's adorable.
He's just
Yeah.
As far as impact, I do think we don't have to do it right now, but at some point I think we have to talk about Rangi and Kyoshi as far as like the development from then to now, as far as what we're seeing, and like even though this took place earlier in the Avatar verse, that like it's happening later, so it's almost more progressive. I think it's just really interesting.
Oh, totally. We can talk about that now because that sort of kind of comes under the impact also, because like the reaction that people had to Korrasami, the confusion that people had to Korrasami as well, to the point that Mike and Brian, I love so much because they actually came forward with a statement saying, if you don't see the signs, you're probably looking through it through a heteronormative lens. They use those exact words, and I was like, well done, well played, my friends. And from the fact that they know so many people, firstly, still hate Korrasami. Like, there are so many homophobes that post stuff under things that they do to do with Korrasami and stuff like that. Obviously, Nickelodeon themselves being homophobic assholes, but like to claim diversity when it suits them. But we'll talk about that at some point in the future, I'm guessing, probably. Anyway, but the fact that all that happened, and then they have this other opportunity, because obviously they announced in the comic books Turf Wars that Kyoshi was bisexual as well. She loved both men and women.
Yes.
Setting that up, I think, firstly for the novels in general, because I think the novels came out like a year after Turf Wars, possibly. But setting that up straight away and having that opportunity to probably do what they wanted to do for Korrasami in Legend of Korra in the first place, to that level, having that development, even the fact that there's technically a love triangle a little bit in the Rise of Kyoshi books with Yun as well. Not as doesn't stand out as much as in the TV show, but that's probably
It's not as horny.
Yeah. it's more chill. Mainly because Kyoshi is just literally a useless bisexual. She doesn't know anything.
Disaster.
Yeah, she's disaster bisexual.
Disaster bisexual.
That's it. I was saying, I don't know. Oh, yeah, useless lesbians. That's why I was getting confused. Anyway, that's Rangi. Rangi is the useless lesbian in this situation.
Very useful, but not in other ways.
Yes, she's useful in some areas, but she's also the angry small one. And I think that's just really interesting that is probably what they wanted to do for Korrasami. Have that slow build, have that, is she going to end up with the guy? She'll probably end up with the guy. Like, that's what makes sense. And then we see her feelings more for Rangi, and we're like, oh, I see what's happening here. And then it just kind of develops further. It'd be interesting if that is what they wanted to do for Korrasami, but they found a way to put it somewhere else with Kyoshi and Rangi and expand on it and make Kyoshi a power bottom.
Yeah. It's not like it's not there in the writing that like Kyoshi is sub for Rangi. It's a little steamy. These books get a little steamy.
I haven't finished them yet, so please no spoilers for the second book.
No spoilers, no worries.
Yeah.
It is interesting. I think Korrasami definitely did have an impact for how Rangi and Kyoshi was able to kind of come to be. Because I think someone mentioned in the comments actually as well that they think the Kyoshi and Rangi relationship is better in a sense than Korra and Asami's. And I kind of agree, just because we got that further development, it was able to expand further within the main story itself. Whereas obviously for Legend of Korra, the time period it's from, for 2014, kind of couldn't do that at all. Yeah. So it's carried on into the comics instead, which is expanded, which not everyone reads either. So I think I kind of get where the person is coming from. Korrasami will always have the biggest place in my heart, but I do agree with the Kyoshi and Rangi kind of being the better relationship, especially better than Katang. But let's talk. I'm
no one in the fandom even.
Well, at least it's not Zutara, but I know that there are some people here who are Zutara fans, so I won't say anything.
There are some people who are Zhuang fans, and I'm like, no.
Admittedly,
Zhuang.
Yes.
Yeah.
Enemies to lovers.
Zuko and Sokka. Zuko and Sokka, I can get.
That I can agree with.
That could work.
I'd ship Zuko with anyone.
Can we ship Zuko with some therapy?
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Like, he needs to like work on himself a little bit before he can like actually be in a healthy, good relationship with everybody else. But
that's what we get in the comics, no?
Oh, we do. I haven't read them.
Like a little.
A little bit.
He goes through some development. Look, he goes through some development. He gets some closure. I think it helps a little.
The only thing I can remember from the comics is Zuko going to existential dread coma part 2.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that happened.
Where he has his change.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah. But like, I don't know, with some of these relationships, I feel like part of what makes them good is being able to actually plan ahead a lot, but also being able to giving the freedom to actually do what they want. So it's like one of the things of Legend of Korra is like the production nightmare that it was with the executives making like hard, like you need to do this, and originally it was just 1 season, and then oh no, we need 3 more, and then all the panic and the rush of season 2. it's like, I feel like if they had known that they would get 4 seasons from the beginning,
They
would
would
have been able.
consistent.
Exactly. So when people say, "Oh, what is this?" I'm just like, do you not know the production nightmares? So that for me kind of says why sometimes people feel like the transition between 2 and 3 was a bit more rocky. That's because they actually had more time to plan out 3 and 4.
Yeah.
Because they actually had the time and the freedom to know, oh, we can actually build this up like slow burn, similar to what they did with Avatar. So with the actual books, there they have complete freedom to actually talk about sexuality and build up this romance. But they also have the freedom to do it as well. But they also have the planning, like, okay, you get this many books, plan out a love story.
Yeah.
So like that for me is kind of what tells me how well executed a storyline is going to be overall. Do they have the freedom to do what they want, and do they have the actual time to plan everything out?
No, that's so true. Especially with season 4 as well. Like season 4 is planned, but not even as well as it could be, because season 3 and 4 were released literally a month apart from each other. Season 3 came out in, I think it was like June, ended in September, and then season 4 came out end of September and ended in December. Like it was so close to each other that season 4 itself also has those moments. Then also had the budget cuts. It was meant to be like that Kuvira backstory where the clip episode came in, and I'm like, I'm still annoyed about that to this day. But there are definitely so many things from it. But even like everything that kind of went on, like the fact that they were able to thread in these small little things for Korrasami as well. Even though Nickelodeon were Nickelodeon,
Nickelodeon.
Oh god.
Yeah. But it's not like, you can't even say it's the studio as a whole, because a lot of times it's just 1 or 2 executives that have to make these kinds of decisions. So it's not even necessarily the studio as a whole.
Yeah. No.
But yeah, like you were saying, despite all these production nightmares, the fact that they were able to still put out a great story is incredible.
Snaps.
Oh, that snaps.
I also agree that like the plan, like the beauty of like the planned out love story and like having the space to do that is like Rangi, and also like Rangi and Kyoshi, even though like also like I said, like even though it's way hundreds of years earlier in like the Avatar universe, like it's almost like everyone's very accepting of it, like kind of right off the bat. Like Heyron is kind of immediately like, you are my daughter now because you date my daughter. I have lesbian daughters. And she's like very like, nobody is really has like as hesitant even as they are in like the later like Korrasami comics, where they have to like really come out and like, I don't know. I just think that's interesting. And I think it's like there's like beauty and like comfort. Like the podcast I run is all about Persebeth, which is like probably one of the most like well timed out, like well organized, like slow burn loves in all of young adult literature. But I also think that the value of Korrasami is that like it was so chaotic that like it feels authentic to me, because like things are like, life is chaotic. Again, it's like the beauty of the bisexual disaster that they are, that it's just like it happens kind of haphazardly, and then they still end up together, and it's still like beautiful, even though it's not as like clean and simple as some of the other stories.
You just explained how my partner and I got together.
Sounds all right.
It was 9 months of chaos.
Exactly.
Yeah. So yeah, that like, yeah, I do agree with that. Sometimes the chaos is necessary.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's hard to like plan out chaos and make it feel natural. So why not just make it chaotic? Just what happens. Just go with it.
Yeah.
They gave you tea. Accept it.
The way it happened though was still like yeah, it was very, it could happen in real life with the chaotic bisexual disasters we have in the real world. Like I've seen like real life stories where people are like, oh yeah, my boyfriend is terrible to me and he was cheating on me with another woman, and so you know what, instead of fighting this other woman, I'm gonna marry her. So like,
oh my god, it's like that collection of
bisexual revenge.
Yeah, you know the stock photos of the guy who's like looking at the girl and the girl's looking at him, and there's like a whole collection of them telling a story of like it's all the same 3 people, and it ends up with them married and him looking sad out a window that's raining or something like that. And that's how it's a beautiful story.
Has anybody seen the long man meme? Oh my god, it's a Japanese commercial, but it's.
Oh.
You guys are gonna have to Google that at another point. I can't even explain that in my real life right now.
Okay.
I will look it up after the live stream in case.
Yes.
I remember this.
No, it's not. It's not sexual in that way. The way that it made it sound with Long Man. It's the name of a gummy candy commercial, like.
Oh, I think I might have seen it actually.
That is.
Like it's actually starting to sound familiar.
It's got a whole storyline to it, but it ends in gayness, which we support.
Amazing. I'm definitely gonna have to look that up afterwards. All right. So kind of going from the impact of all that sort of stuff and the whole Kyoshi and Rengi and Korrasami based elements. To kind of go into the sort of last question. It popped up. There we go. From everything that's happened the past 6 years from when it happened for those who saw it in 2014, and even those who've seen it only recently but still feeling that impact from it, what would you say Korrasami means or stands for you now, and also for kind of the idea of queer characters in children's media?
For me, I think it stands for a positive future particularly for like queer youth. Like this was a show aimed at like young kids, teenagers. Like us adults can like revel in the fact that it's a great show and we can watch it now, but like it wasn't particularly made for us. It was made for when we were, 14, 15, 12 years old. And at that point, I think a lot of us, the vibe I'm getting is that we had a lot of questioning at that age that was sort of maybe like pushed down or away, because nothing has really ever given us a positive spin or a positive light on, oh, the feelings you have, they're natural, they're good, it's okay, you can be bi, you can be gay, you can be trans, it's fantastic, you're you. And the story of you, like, the story of you is made out of these different elements, and if this is one of those elements, that's just how it is. It's your story.
I like that.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
All right. What about anyone else? What would you say to this question?
Like, all I would say is that, like, for me, I love Legend of Korra even more than Avatar because it was the show that came for me at the exact right time.
Mm-hmm.
Because that was when I was just getting into being a teenager, figuring everything out, wanting to like get something that was still familiar but still a little bit more mature, and then still get something that, again, it all just came for me at the exact right time. And then looking back on it is kind of like a good moment to be like, oh, that's where a lot of things just started and just meshed at the right time. If that makes sense.
Yeah. Okay. I think that's definitely the thing. I think especially with 2014 specifically, when it was coming out here in the UK, obviously same-sex marriage was just legalized. There was still a lot of dislike for the fact that same-sex marriage had been legalized that year. There was still a lot of questioning whether or not it was going to be revoked. I know around the same time, I think Australia had literally just had it revoked around that time, I think. And there are so many things that people were questioning about it all, and I was questioning it at the same time. There were like some issues that were going on from the start of when I started watching Legend of Korra. I'd only been out for about 4 months when I first got into the show, and it was my way of kind of escaping from like the terrible stuff that was going on at school after I'd been outed by a classmate, and it was the escape show that I had for me around that time. Like that was the thing that kind of, it's the reason why I talk about Legend of Korra so much more on like my YouTube channel than anything else. Like Avatar: The Last Airbender, I love it. Like it's fantastic. It's an incredible show, but Legend of Korra has always had that bigger impact because it, like you said, Andrea, it came at the right time for me. It was the show that kind of kept me sane in some form. It was messy, it was chaotic, people were vindictive and cruel in the show to each other, and society within it was pretty much like ours. It was shit. And it just felt so real, so you could really escape into it. Even though After the Last Airbender had the fantasy escapism element, Legend of Korra had the real life escapism element of, this is what it's like for me, but I can go to somewhere where it can be just a little bit better because there'll be people who understand or are experiencing the same thing. And that was the way that I felt throughout the whole 2 years of the show coming out. I just realized 4 seasons in 2 years, bloody hell. But throughout those 2 years whilst the show was airing, and even though like the last 2 seasons I wasn't able to watch it on TV, having that moment of watching those last 2 seasons in a day, and seeing what happened at the end, and then finding out also about all these other people who'd seen what happened, and watching. Have you guys seen the reaction videos of people seeing the finale for Legend of Korra, like the compilation of it? Or Erica, if you haven't, I will send it to you because oh my god, honestly,
I'll cry.
I cried with it. It's just I wish I'd half record myself to add it because it would have been funny because like I'm a very ugly crier. I'm surprised I haven't cried during this live stream. There have been moments, but like I was like, I need to compose myself. This is live.
I've had like misty eyes the entire time we've been talking. I really have been liking this live stream we're doing. It's great.
Yeah. This is a safe space. I should have cried. No.
Oh, damn it. Yeah.
It would have gotten the views. That's what I'm thinking about.
Yeah.
But that's just kind of the thing with it. It's just that it had such an impact for so many people, and it paved the way for so many things that followed, like Steven's Universe, like Adventure Time, She-Ra that came afterwards. I don't know any of the kids' cartoons, but there are even kids like live action TV shows like Andy Mack on Disney Channel that only came out a few years ago. The first mixed race Asian American family with teen pregnancy and the first coming out on Disney Channel ever. And like that's just crazy. Like to even think that would happen for a kids show as well. But whether or not it's connected to Legend of Korra, in some way I kind of think it is, because Legend of Korra was that first step where everyone was like, this is okay. Like there's nothing wrong with this, even though like things went wrong with it, like it being aired at like 11 p.m. at night because of hand holding. And I'm like, hand holding? Really? But even with all that sort of stuff, it had this impacted feeling for so many people. So kind of like every year I end up watching that compilation of the finale reaction just because it's nice to see that other people felt the same way about that finale, and it's not just all those people being like, oh, it came out of nowhere, and I'm like, no, you're just straight. Like I got aggressive by the end, but hopefully my point came across. Oh god, I'm going to get some comments after this. Oh no.
Oh, Fran.
Don't come after Fran. We will fight you.
Well, that's why that's my answer. Like the aggressiveness is why I love the Legend of Korra in general so much. Like that's what Korra means to me, is just like seeing that kind of a female character who is like aggressive, and like that's also why people love Kyoshi, because she has anger problems. like she has lots of emotions, and she doesn't always know where to put all of that energy and like force and stuff like that. And seeing that kind of a female character like struggling to make it work and like fit into people's expectations means so much. And then seeing her also kind of like realize other parts of herself, I think, is what Korrasami, as opposed to other ships and even like more recent, like we said, cleaner ships, like will always mean to me, is that like the figuring it out, and it's okay to take that time to like figure all these things out about yourself, like Robert was saying. And once you get there, like that's great, but there'll always be more things to figure out, and like you're never set in stone. And like even if the production is a mess, and like it'll work out. And also I think from a storytelling standpoint, I think it's really like inspiring that they did their absolute best in like the worst of situations to like make this happen, because they cared about it in terms of the universe, and they cared about people seeing it. And it did, like, I think even in its own small way, like open a door to a lot of these other stories.
Mm-hmm.
Agreed.
Yeah. Like, I know that Avatar has like all the mature themes of like war, genocide, imperialism, but Legend of Korra almost felt even more mature than that, because it took a lot of concepts that were very applicable to real world today and talked about them in a very mature, yet still entertaining and still fun manner. Like even with every single season, or like a lot of the characters, it still felt like a little bit more mature. And it's like, it's okay to like, it's good to talk about these kinds of things. because there's always going to be someone who takes something away from that.
On that, like the villains in Legend of Korra, like they're just so much more dimensional. Like they have their own like actual political philosophies that you see people in real life having, and like it's so much easier to like empathize with them more so than like with Ozai, who is just like here to do evil things. You know?
I came here to do evil things and scar my son, and I'm all out of sons to scar.
Oh no. Well, on that note,
Dads be like that.
be like that sometimes.
Just the bad ones. Just the bad ones.
Yeah, like I feel like we've covered so much of like just what it means, but like in general, just like such a shout out to the creators for like sticking by their guns to like take that risk and fight back with like against the big people up there to like have these sorts of like positive messages and like important themes in their children's cartoon, because like I really do think it is the first children like media for children that shows any kind of like, I mean, yeah, just like queer relationship in general, and the fact that they did it with like so much intentionality behind it and like made it good, and it wasn't like one of those, you know, very much more toxic versions of representation we see in like a lot of adult media, like that our first exposure to like children's media queerness was so wholesome and like bisexual even, which is so frequently erased. And like,
And with non-white women, like even though the creators are white, like I always have to acknowledge that, and it's uncomfortable. Like the fact that it was also these two like mixed, like ethnically ambiguous, like brown women of color. That's huge. Like what? Did that really happen? That's crazy.
Their characters aren't like, you know, the stereotypical gays either, like whatever that means, even though like I don't know if you guys have seen the Tumblr arguments about like the feudal lord and like handmaiden peasant vibe. He was saying how like, oh, this is actually just mirroring like a straight relationship, because Korra is a very typical like feudal lord and like Asami is like the handmaiden. So everyone was just like, oh yeah, who's the feudal lord in your relationship?
What?
The whole entire meme moment back in the historical 2014.
I mean, there's bad takes, and then there's that.
There's just so much stuff I want to say to refute that argument.
I mean, personally, I'd like to think I'm the feudal lord, but
Put that on a shirt. Fran, can you make a shirt that says "Personally, I think I'm the feudal lord"?
I need
I would buy
to.
that.
Bring back feudalism 2020.
You just yelled that I am the feudal lord because I don't do chores.
Oh, amazing. Okay, I am making that into a t-shirt and I'm giving it to you for Christmas resolution. Sending out specifically. Oh my god.
Lovely life to lead. Especially if it's not to be my handmaiden, like, oh. Amazing.
I am so lost.
Not that I, what's it called? Advocate for subjugation of your romantic partners. That is very, very not okay. And we like
Very well.
equal footing unless it is a very consensual kind of vibe.
With that, I think that was the last question as well for it, and we're kind of coming to the end of all this. So this has been it's been so cool to hear so many other people who were like impacted by Korrasami, even those like from 2014, most recently as well. Like the thing that I often hear to do with the Korrasami element is those who are watching it now end up being disappointed by Korrasami because it's not what they thought it would be. And I see that as both like a negative and a positive at the same time, because we now expect better. Like we want more overt. We want something that is just kind of shows the representation better instead of having it at the end of a series. But then also at the same time, the negative, because that they don't realize the impact that had at the time that it was airing. And even kind of like by today's standards, firstly, that's a very woman-liking woman situation. Like we are very slow, but but it's just also it has the impact. Like even though it's a small thing, it's them walking in, holding hands and sort of things. It still has that feeling, like you feel this warmth when you see it happen. Like I can't watch it without crying. Initially, I wanted to do this live stream with me rewatching the finale, and I was like, I don't want to cry on camera, so I'm not going to do that. That was the only reason why I didn't do it in the end. Was like, I will cry on camera, so I'm just not going to do it. But there's just something about it that, even though it's so little in comparison to the representation that we have now, there's something about it even now that is incredible to see. But it's been great talking to so many people about Korrasami. I don't really have anyone to talk to about Korrasami, so I now have 4 other people to talk to Korrasami about.
Fran, you have me and Natalie. Like you indoctrinated us to watch that show.
I've made so many people watch the show just so I can talk to them about Korrasami at the end. That is and Legend of Korra, because Legend of Korra is dope, but like Korrasami is the main discussion point. I have like as I gave to Erica, I've got an entire Word document filled with fan fiction that I recommend to people. It's like 6 pages long.
It's really important.
And growing. It's still growing. I think it's like at 10 pages now.
Wow.
I have so many things, yeah. But this has been great. So do you guys want to do a sign off, like let people know where they can find you, and then if I can remember how, I'll end the broadcast.
Yes. Yes. My name is Erica. If you like ships and you like doing this exact thing where you just talk really, really in depth for an hour every single week about some certain kinds of ships, I have a podcast. It's called CV Brain Podcast. You can find it on anywhere you listen to podcasts, Spotify, Apple Music, etc. And we talk about Persebeth and also all of the other relationships that kind of flow in and out of Persebeth. It's really fun. It's a little gay. I would love to see you there. Thanks.
Robert, do you want to?
Do I have to? Do I even exist? Am I here?
You are important, Robert.
Thank you. I'm also on team. I have a Percy Jackson podcast. Let's go. It's called Into the Riordanverse, where me and my co-hosts will read into the books that aren't Percy Jackson. So no Percy Jackson and the Olympians, no Heroes of Olympus, no Trials of Apollo. We are almost done with the first Kane Chronicles book, which is great. And this has no context. I just thought of this and I wanted to say it because it's funny. I'm bi, which means double the choices and double the disappointment. All right.
That's a great sign off for this.
Oh gosh. That was amazing. All right, Andrew, do you want to?
All right, so I'm Andy. I don't have a podcast, but hopefully I'm going to get something published next year. So if you want to, hopefully, please.
Yeah.
Need to finish the book first.
Oh God, I felt that.
Yeah. If you want to follow me, here's my Instagram/Twitter. Much more active on Instagram. And also because he said it, I would just like everyone to know I am taken, so sorry.
Rub it in everyone's face. That's fine.
Sorry, I'm in a very committed relationship and I'm very protective of it.
We stand committed relationships.
Yes. Stan.
So much so that I will dab. All right.
Talk about 2014.
Oh God. All right, Lija, do you want to let everyone know where they can find you?
Close us off then. All right. I have been Lija Wang. I will continue to be Lija Wang. I am also not an owner of a podcast, and for the most part, I've been a writer of a book that is not yet published yet, but is about queer Chinese historical fantasy.
Nice.
They're demons and they kill a lot of people, and we love that for them.
You had me at fantasy.
Oh my God.
Yeah, maybe someday you'll get to read it. But more recently, just filmed that young Iroh film. He's unfortunately straight. Sorry, there will be gay characters and non-binary characters coming up in episode 2. We're very excited for them. And yeah, it's just short film about like a young Crown Prince Iroh when he was still the Crown Prince, every bit as like kind and funny as we know and love him to be, but also, you know, proud heir to the Fire Nation throne, pawn of imperialism and genocide, and he's never really questioned it before. So he's on his journey to slay the last dragon, but he meets a mysterious woman, V, wearing a white lotus pin, who offers him tea, and after a failed hostage capture attempt, they end up stuck in a cave together, and she starts to open his eyes to the truth of his nation's sins. So, littered with my political opinions. The good we currently do not have it out yet. It will be coming out in early 2021, but if you want to catch that when it comes out, it will be on at whitelotus.films for Instagram. And I also have my personal Instagram there, but it's mostly like my cats and political posts.
I'm so excited for that. Thank you for making that.
Nice.
I'm very excited about I was excited about making it, and now I'm excited about having it ready to share with the world.
Yay!
Nice.
Amazing. I will obviously, to all the people watching as well, if you don't go follow the YouTube channel and Instagram and all that sort of stuff, I'm going to be sharing it when it comes out, so you kind of have no choice but to see it. So you know, advertisement, well, it's not free, but I'm doing it for free because friendship. But
wait a minute, Fran, you're British. You said that word wrong.
what did
Isn't it
Advertisement? Oh my god.
advertisement?
No, we say advertisement as well. We say advertisement. Only if you only speak the Queen's English, then it's advertisement.
I was gonna say, has Fran not been British this whole time? Has she really been fooling the entire internet?
Oh my god.
Oh
And
my
you're
And
finding
then
out
some of the
right now
internet don't even know I'm a lesbian.
It's just for the views. It's just for the views.
It's
It
just-
is.
She's
Right,
actually
right.
like one of those like UK like weebs, and she's
Oh.
been making it the whole time. She just really loves the UK.
Fran is actually super duper American. She's going to speak in her American accent, right, Fran?
Yar. No, that's a pirate.
Yar. It's actually pronounced yeet.
And next, she's
Oh, God.
7 guns.
Fran just went from British lesbian to pirate lesbian. She
Yeah.
did
And maybe with my haircut, I probably
Is
could.
there any difference between pirate lesbian and British lesbian?
No, I mean, most British pirates were
Or
from
Keira
London.
Knightley. Yeah.
Yeah, Keira Knightley is a pretty good example of. Well, admittedly, she should have been a queer pirate. Admittedly, it would have made the film so much better.
Oh my god, can we do a Pirates of the Caribbean live stream next, please? I need to air some stuff out.
Let's go.
Yes, I'm here for it. But on that note, to all the people watching, you got, well, if you've not hit the subscribe button, for shame. But hit the notification bell.
Hit the bell.
The bell, yes. Wait, no, he's that way. There we go. Hit the bell. And comment, like, share, blah, 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 blah. And oh, thanks, guys. I appreciate
I've always wanted
that.
to do that with the pointing on the YouTube.
Comment, subscribe, rate 5 stars. I don't know. What else do people do?
Comment, like, share, dislike if you want, because apparently that also works with the algorithm. And yeah, if you guys enjoy live streams like this, I will definitely be doing more in future. If you don't like them, I'm still going to do them because this is my channel. So
Please invite me when you do the Swan Queen live stream.
yes. Anyone else who is a shipper of Swan Queen from Once Upon a Time, which is Emma Swan and Regina Mills. That
I'm
is
sorry.
Everyone had like their memories unlocked about that.
So, for those watching, that is coming next, alongside a bunch of other stuff. This channel is now in every fandom, so I will see you in the next one, and hopefully I can end the broadcast.